When we see MPs in Parliament, they're often shouting at each other across the Commons chamber. But that's not what being an MP is about. Helping constituents who get in touch with them forms a huge part of their work. That's what their constituency surgeries are all about. So each week, or as regularly as we're able, we want to bring you an MP and an ordinary person who have come together to campaign for change. Today, it's Stephanie Peacock, Labour MP for Barnsley East, and her constituent, Johnny Wood. Welcome to both of you. I'm going to start with you, Stephanie.
Okay.
Tell me what issue Johnny brought to your constituency surgery.
So it's the incredibly tragic case of his sister, who used to go on a daily walk through the village of Brearley, which is just outside Barnsley. Each day she used to do this walk, and sadly, one day she was hit and killed by a stolen HGV lorry. There were 4 men joyriding this lorry around Barnsley, and they had 100 convictions between them.
Goodness. Over to you, Johnny. Tell us about your sister Jackie and how you found out the news, the tragic news about Jackie.
As Stephanie just said, is that Jackie used to go on a daily walk 5 times a week. Then she'd be out on a weekend socialising. The way that I found out was I was on my way to Scarborough to do a charity gig because I do a little bit of DJing. And I got a phone call to go down to our Jackie's from a friend of ours telling me that there'd been a serious accident and our Jackie had been involved. I got down to our Jacqueline's house. Our Kate was there, which is our Jackie's daughter, and 2 police officers. The police officers asked me who I was. I explained to them that I was Jackie's brother and that I had a phone call, and as I understand it, that she'd been in a serious accident. He then told me that we don't know if it is your sister at the present moment. And then my words to him was, is it a fatality? And he says, yes. So Kate was crying, and then her brother, Ryan, came into the house. He'd just come home from work, and they explained to him that there'd been a serious accident. Then the police officer stipulated that they got some articles to see if it was Jackie. Ryan had to witness his mum's body by a tattoo on her back, a picture, a chain and a shoe. Ryan then said to the police officers, yes, these are my mum's. Then we had the discussion on what steps to be doing next, and to see what I saw that day. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was unbelievable.
It's terrible to listen.
All lives could steal a lorry right about over a 2-day period. If that lorry had been stolen in the London area, it would have been picked up straight away. But in the north of England, because of the facilities that's been cut back in our area on policing, and various other things, is that it wasn't picked up.
Johnny, when did you decide to... Sorry, carry on, I interrupted you. My apologies.
And then when I looked into it, what had actually happened is that the stolen lorry had entered Common Road at Brierley. A police officer had seen it. He wasn't chasing it, he was just following it, because it had been reported as a stolen vehicle. There were 4 characters inside it, or should I say 4 lowlifes. They'd gone around this corner. Seconds before they'd hit the corner, a young lady that was 6 months pregnant was in a car. She was moving home, and a friend of hers was at the back of her. She'd just got round the corner. The lorry was travelling at 56 miles an hour. It was an 8.25 ton lorry. As it went round the corner, she heard a smash, and it was her friend at the back of following in a car that was hit by the lorry. Then the lorry hit another car. That car belonged to a gentleman whose daughter, he just left the car and was walking into his house. He'd actually said hello to our Jackie, and he just got in the house, and the car hit his car. his daughter was being married the day after. Then the car hit our Jackie, took her down the road, killed her instantly, then hit another car, and then went across the road and went into an house and demolished the house. The four lowlifes in the lorry, two of them jumped out to the right-hand side and went running, and there was the local community who actually apprehended them. The one that had stole the lorry had actually jumped out of the other side over his friend's body, who was actually trapped in the vehicle, and he run across the road. He actually run by our Jacqueline's body and then went into hiding in the village of Briley. The police officer then came to the scene and apprehended two of the suspects. One was trapped in the lorry, obviously, and the one that stole the lorry had got away, the one that run by our Jackie's body. And then after that, the air ambulance turned up and managed to get the one that were trapped in the lorry out of the vehicle. And the air ambulance actually did make a programme about that, an hour-long special, which I was on.
Right. Thank you, Johnny. Stephanie, what did Johnny want you to do as his Member of Parliament, and what have you been able to do?
So he's obviously described the incredibly tragic situation, and I think following all of the issues that he's described, when it came to court, I believe this was one of the first times that 4 people were convicted of dangerous driving, because there was obviously one person driving, but 4 people in the cab, and as Johnny's described, they had 100 convictions between them, and in that judgment the judge wanted to give a stronger sentence, but by law at that point he could only give 14 years. Johnny was understandably completely outraged and angry about this, so he came to see me, and what he wanted to do was put pressure on the government to increase the sentence for death by dangerous driving.
And have they?
They have put it on the statute book now. It is going through Parliament. It took some time because they had promised it previously, but they hadn't acted upon it, and earlier this year they have done it. It's also worth saying that one of the men was actually in the probation system, so another issue that Johnny wanted to talk to me about was the complete mess that our probation system is in.
Johnny, you have been one of the reasons, you and going to see Stephanie, you've been one of the campaigners that has managed to get the government to change the law and increase that sentence. It came too late for Jackie and your family. Do you take some comfort for what you've been able to achieve by campaigning for change?
A little, yes, because the law change was actually put on this government's table in 2017 and Jackie was killed in 2018. If they would have implemented that law, then these 4 lowlifes would be saving life. They'll be coming out in the first one that actually was driving the vehicle, they'll be coming out in 2025. But back to the court system. When I was in court and I witnessed a top judge in this country, a QC, stipulating that it would like to have given them a lot more but couldn't because of the way the system of the law stands. And that I know that he'd done a trial before and he'd stipulated in there. And it got my back up and I wanted to do something and try and get this law implemented. They've got the right to appeal. We, as the victims, have not got the right to appeal. So I wanted it, whereas the judge who were competent, and by the way, we were very happy on the way he conducted himself, and I witnessed him on a few occasions looking up to us in the public gallery and more or less thinking to us, I just want the jury to say that these lowlifes are guilty. 100 convictions is that between them. One had killed death by dangerous driving in the Barnsley area before, and one was on probation. You know, what's wrong? We've got to do something. We had to do something. And when I witnessed what I witnessed in court, the lorry actually hitting our Jackie on CCTV and taking her down the road and looking down at them 4 lives, and no remorse whatsoever from any of them, none at all, then something had to be done.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.